welcome to Rediscover Your Stash. So for this round, Khristina and I are working with paper scraps and branding strips. And I have 2 pieces of black cardstock here, but in the end, you're going to see very little of this cardstock. So I'm using an 8x10 picture, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mat it to one of the sheets of black cardstock and just give it a little bit of a border. So this is a really, really good page technique, whether you have an 8x10 photo or not, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit here as I go along through the video. So even if you never get pictures printed at 8x10, don't fret. I have a workaround for you so that you can still use up a bunch of branding strips and paper scraps without a problem. So the reason I'm working with white cardstock or with black cardstock today is very simple. I'm running out of white cardstock at a furious pace, and I do have some on order. My favorite white cardstock from Click Kits, but it's not going to come till my March kit, so I'm conserving paper. So what I've done here is I am showing you here how you could do this exact same thing. So this is just a collage, 2 4x6s and 2 square photos. You could just tape them right down to a piece of black cardstock and mat around that. You could use a collage of any photos. So this is a great technique to get a lot of photos on a page, and you could do that. Here I have 2 3x4s, so I'm showing you how that would space out, that you could add other photos to it. So when I put this picture down, I only put it down in the middle because I'm going to work around the edges of it. And now I'm just checking my paper scraps to see if any of them are 12 inches long. And I think I basically just go with some branding strips because I know those are 12 inches long. And so all I'm going to do here is super, super simple. I'm going to take branding strips and 1/4 inch strips from my scraps. I'm going to ink them up, and I'm going to go ahead and lay them over my cardstock in a way that I like, in a way that pleases me. So that's it. It's pretty simple. And the reason I started, of course, with my 12x12 is because across the top and across the bottom, I'm going to need a couple strips that are 12 inches long. But I don't need them all to be 12 inches long. And you'll see that as we get a little bit further down here with this layout. So very simple. Ink, tape runner, and just stripe them across your layout. Super duper easy. And then I'm just going to tuck them under and around the photo as I come to the edges of my photo. And so now I have my 3 12x12 strips. Oh, let me make sure I get it taped down here right. Did I decide on something else? Oh, I must have decided on something else. I hate that. But anyway, nothing can be done about it when you're scrapbooking and something just doesn't look quite right, right? Right. You have to switch it up. Just what you got to do. So, again, this requires, branding strips are usually a 1/4 inch wide, but make sure that you check that because, I'm trying to think, no, they were a 1/4 inch. I'm almost positive. When you take a branding strip off, just measure it just to be sure, because I'm not near my paper trimmer right now that I can check, but I'm almost positive it's a 1/4 inch. So now I'm getting to the part where I'm using smaller strips. I don't need 12-inch strips. I can use 6-inch long strips. I can use 4-inch long strips, whatever you want. And so the same thing, I'm just taking these strips of, you can use I'm using a lot of branding strips because that's what I had. I had tons of branding strips. I wanted to find a cool, clever way to use them. This is what I came up with. And then I alternated it with some scraps of pattern paper so that there was a little more color and a little bit more design. So just find the ones that you really like. So I'm continuing that process here of just layering, striping up these things, and then I'm going to trim and watch. This is cool. Trim, tape, put it at the bottom. So easy. There's no such little waste with this kind of an idea because even when you get to the point here where there's not enough to make another row of a stripe, I'm going to use those. We're going to use those little pieces. I'm going to put them up at the top, and we're going to use them in our embellishments later on in this layout. So this is the process. This really is just the process. I'm going to go back to my stash a little bit, and I'm going to pull more branding strips out and cut them. I also have some 1/4-inch strips of some more of the pattern papers. This is a really, really awesome technique to use if you buy a collection. I know American Crafts collections and Felicity Jane collections, the branding strips they coordinate with each other. Sometimes they have cute little sayings, super duper fun things. So if you buy a full collection, you can cut off those branding strips, collect them all together, and get them all used up on one layout, which is awesome. My only suggestion would be, in this situation here, when you get to the bottom, no matter what you do, you're not going to have exactly a 1/4 inch. So whatever you choose for your bottom branding strip, make sure it's something that can be trimmed without really altering or messing up the design. So you might not want to use words as your bottom branding strip. But other than that, it's you can't really mess this up. I mean, really can't really mess this up. So I'm a little bit out of camera here for this bottom cluster that I'm working on, but when I get to that top corner cluster, you will see that how I did it. So all I'm doing is punching some circles with my circle punch. I'm taking some of those offcuts that we couldn't use to make our stripes, and I'm fishtailing one end, and I'm using them as kind of a banner piece to layer. Also, the really great thing about this type of a layout is that we have all that color and all that pattern going on from all of our branding strips and strips of paper. And we have, whether you have one large photo or a combination of collaged photos, you don't need a lot of embellishment. A little bit in the bottom left, a little bit in the top right, maybe a date or a very small title, and you are good to go. Another great thing about this is, remember how I showed you the collaged? If you have a story where you have a lot of journaling you want to tell about this, the photos that you're using, when you create that 8x10 collage with your pictures, just leave a space, put a little journaling box in there, and then you have a ready-made place to journal. There's no thought process. So it's really, really simple to do. You have that dedicated spot ready for your journaling to go. So now you can see I'm doing that top cluster, and again, I'm just using some circles and my fishtail. I'm using my stash kit, my counterfeit kit for the month for February to March. And if you want to know more about how I create my kits and what I do with those, take a look at my stash management or kit management video that I posted earlier this month when I created this stash kit. So now I'm just adding how old my son was in this photo and the year at the bottom. I'm going to go through and try to find a couple of little just fun things to add. Nothing super colorful, nothing very large. I do think a little bit about a couple of larger pieces like that acrylic piece that you see off to the left, but I decided against it. So I'm just adding some cute little puffy sticker hearts. These are from Felicity Jane. And this banner is also just a little piece of a cut apart. Those chipboard pieces that you see off to the side are all different elements from Paige Evans' Take Me Away, but I don't end up using any of those. I am going to go ahead and use this varnish sticker from Dear Lizzie. I really, really want to use these up. I love them, but I don't know the sayings on them. I'm kind of finding them hard to get used up out of my stash. So now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add a couple of enamel dots in some of the colors from the strips. I think I chose a dark gray as opposed to a black, so it does look a little black on the page on the video, but it's really a darker gray. And then these aqua little pops of color, and we are finished. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've gotten a good tip, trick, technique, way to use up some branding strips or some paper scraps. And I hope you will join Khristina and I again in a couple weeks for more stash busting, rediscover your stash videos. Be sure to subscribe to Khristina's channel. She's super close to one of her milestones for her subscribers, and I would love, love, love for her to get to that point. And this will complete this wonderful layout. Be sure that if you play along with us, if you create a layout after ours, make sure to tag us in your photos on Instagram or Facebook, and to go ahead and use the hashtag Rediscover Your Stash. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon. Bye!